What's going on, guys? So I typically do something for Thanksgiving, and I usually do something for Christmas as well. Hell, I even do Valentine's Day. I've done it at least a few times. So I figured I would talk to you guys about the 10 fragrances out of my collection that I own that I believe would just be best suited for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, whichever you do with your family, which Christmas Eve this year will probably be at home, but Christmas Day is going to be with my in-laws. Typically, if we were with my family, it would be Christmas Eve and then kind of like a Thanksgiving recap in some ways, Christmas Day, where we kind of do turkey and all that over again. But neither here nor there. So there's two out of these 10 that I myself am just back and forth torn between what I'm going to wear, and we'll discuss those two at the end of the video. But in my opinion, if you've got one of these 10, you're in good shape this Christmas. So stay tuned.
With key notes of angelica root, coriander, incense, olibanum resin, myrrh. This is not with a faint of heart. It's brash, assertive, unforgiving. Evening Mystique.
Starting with what I believe to be one of the most quintessential Christmas time fragrances out there, we are talking about Burberry's London. This stuff just screams Christmas time to me. Beautiful tobacco, a little herbaceous, sweet. It's just really, really good stuff. A lot of people's favorite fragrance for Christmas, especially in the designer realm. You can still find this one for a pretty good price from discounters online. This one's been around for many, many, many years. Not a monster in performance like it once was, but it's still slightly above average. I mean, it's not a super weak, 3-hour fragrance on my skin. I still have this 30 ml. It's a nostalgia pick. I don't really wear this one that often. Typically, I reach for it in the winter, but it definitely makes me think of Christmas. I get a little bit of a piney green herbal feel to it, even though that's not necessarily dictated in the notes. And there's a little bit of a tobacco feel to it. And like I said, there's a light sweetness. It's just a beautiful Christmas time aroma. A lot of you, I'm sure, that have had this or tried this or had it in the past will probably agree with that sentiment. If you got something like Burberry London, you're going to be A-okay this Christmas. So maybe it's time to pull this one out if you haven't in a while. Burberry London. Next is one that I haven't wore in a little while, and if I don't pull it out for Christmas, I'll definitely pull it out before New Year's because I've kind of been jonesing for this aroma. We're talking about Mancera's Red Tobacco. This stuff is fantastic. You'll notice the label's bubbled up a little bit because this bottle leaked. It already had a slight leak when I first got it, and then when I moved to this altitude, it leaked out in transit and kind of messed up the label a little bit, but that's okay because the scent profile is still basically a modern classic. Very pungent, strong, smoky, oud, boozy, very sweet, tobacco heavy. It's a rich, robust, ridiculous performer. Compliment getter for being a strange fragrance, which it's been, kind of romanticized in the community because so many people enjoy this fragrance. But to random people that aren't into this hobby the way you and I are, this is a little bit of a strange scent profile, very pungent and potent. Especially in the top. This is strong stuff. You don't need a lot of sprays. I typically don't do more than 4 or 5 sprays. 4 is kind of the sweet spot for me with this one. I can really get away with 3. It's that strong. It's what I call a nuclear performer. It'll be there the next day on your skin. If for some reason you couldn't take a shower that night and you pulled an all-nighter or whatever, this stuff will pretty much be on your skin until you scrub it off and take a shower or a bath. It's ridiculous. One of my mom's personal favorites. I wore this one Christmas a few years ago. 3 years ago. Yeah. She couldn't stop telling me how good I smelled. This stuff, like I said, modern classic. You can't go wrong with this one during Christmas time. Definitely a strong statement maker, but just know it's so powerful, you're definitely going to command the room and overpower everyone else's fragrance. But it's a great choice for a lot of people. It's Mancera Red Tobacco. Next is crisp, cold winter weather, roasting marshmallows by the fire. By the Fireplace, Maison Margiela Replica line. This stuff is just as winter, Christmas time as it gets. Just beautiful. Smoked embery woods. This sweetness that has kind of that burning marshmallows type of feel to it. This is really, really good stuff. There's a chestnut note in here. It's very ambery. Like I said, that burning embers type of smell, the burning wood accord that it has. It's very replicated. Pun intended with the name, but the quality of this one versus all of the clones or inspired by fragrances, I think this is definitely the ultimate way to go is with the original, because the experience is what it's supposed to be with By the Fireplace. It's just a great fragrance. I can't think of any time other than around Christmas to wear it. I've worn it recently. It's a great pick for December weather, especially out here in the mountains where it has been icy, frosty, ridiculous sub-zero temperatures. You can't go wrong with something like this. And for Christmas, it's a fantastic pick. If you like that burning, smoky wood smell with a nice sweetness to round things out, it's a very cozy, cuddly By the Fireplace type of smell, as the name would indicate. And that's Maison Margiela, Replica By the Fireplace. Next is a little bit of a wild card pick. This is from the house of Afnan. This is in their Supremacy line, and it's one of the best smelling, somewhat of an Aventus style fragrance. It kind of falls somewhere in between Hachivat and Aventus. It is not only intense, Afnan's Supremacy line. This stuff is a black currant and oak moss bomb. You're not going to get loads of pineapple or smoke from any type of birch or anything like that. Man, but you're going to get this very super masculine, yet very inviting monster performer. This is a monster performer. Again, you don't need a lot of sprays. This one's very strong. This is a 4-spray fragrance for me as well, just like Red Tobacco. And it hangs around. If you like chypres, you like bitter, fruity, tart, fruity smell, you'll enjoy this one a lot. Because like I said, it's a black currant and oak moss bomb. That's the two most dominating notes that you're pretty much going to get from start to finish. It doesn't change a lot. There's a little bit of fresh and fruitiness up the top, apple, stuff like that with the black currant, but as it dries, it becomes all about that oak moss, baby. This stuff is so good. So good. Juicy, fruity, sweet, but bitter. Juicy, fruity, sweet. Like I said, super masculine, but a statement maker nonetheless. I actually prefer this to Aventus. And in many ways, I prefer this to Hachivat. If I was dressing up for the occasion more, I would go with Hachivat, but in a slightly more casual setting than I would wear Hachivat for, this is the obvious choice. This is some really good stuff. Great, affordable beast. Quality's great on this one. Pull this one out. If you haven't tried it yet, you should really try it. It's Afnan Supremacy, not only intense. Next is a beautiful boozy and spicy fragrance, a little bit of earthy tones. I believe there's a tobacco note in here. Dries down into this beautiful floral tone of tuberose and iris. We are talking about Bvlgari's Man in Black. Modern classic again. Akin to the Spice Bomb DNA, but this one's got a bit more going for it as far as depth versus the original Viktor and Rolf Spice Bomb. That's why I felt like it was a good choice right here. A lot of people would have maybe gone with Spice Bomb Extreme. I can understand why. I get it. But for me, given the situation, going to Christmas with family, this transitions a bit. It's going to be more enjoyable for the enthusiast, in my opinion, because there's different stages to this fragrance. The opening's not as same as the early dry down, which is not as same as the deep dry down. So like I said, kind of for a designer, it's got a little bit of an enthusiast twist on it with the way it transitions. Not every designer fragrance will transition and nuance the way this one does on my skin. Could just be on my skin. Who knows? But if you have this one, I think this would be a great choice for Christmas with your family. You're definitely going to have a strong, assertive, like boozy, spicy scent profile, especially when you first get there. It will pull a little bit of attention. It's a very desirable scent profile. That's why it's so popular, because people love the way this stuff smells. So if you have it, it's time to pull it out, possibly. Maybe this could be your choice for Christmas. If you don't have it, maybe you should get your nose on it and try it, because it's well worth owning in any size collection, whether it's 10 bottles or 1,000 bottles. Again, that's Bvlgari's Man in Black. Next is a slightly unique fragrance that has some gourmand facets to it. Dark chocolate, roasted coffee. There's a soft leather feel to this with this sweet, boozy maninka fruit that's very unique to this particular scent profile. It is Boss the Scent Private Accord. This is my large 200 milliliter bottle. This stuff is absolutely awesome. Big fan of this. It's an intoxicating scent profile. It's very attractive. It will pull people in. It's a charismatic type of scent. Very magnetic stuff. Because it's so unique. I don't have another fragrance that smells anything even close to this. Not even in its own line. Because of these gourmand facets, that dark chocolate note. Roasted coffee. Leather. It's a little soft and powdery. But those that don't like very powdery fragrances, don't fret. No big deal. It's not very powdery. Just a little light powder to it. Again, could just be my skin, but the sillage on this one is beautiful. Walking in someone's scent trail on this is a joy in itself. I had a coworker a few years back that used to wear this one. I used to love smelling it on him. I love smelling it on myself. It's just a great scent profile and a great choice for the winter, let alone for Christmas time. So get your nose on this one if you haven't yet. If you have it, maybe this is the choice for you. Boss the Scent Private Accord. Next is a gorgeous, but very expensive amber vanilla benzoin fragrance. One of the best out there. It's from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. We're talking about Grand Soir. Grand Soir is just such a magnificent fragrance. I mean, the scent trail on this is to die for. There's no two ways about it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. A lot of people may think, because of my praise of Nichané's Ani, I would have chose that one here. Well, slightly more special occasions, I like to go with Grand Soir. I don't know, it just has this certain feeling that comes with it. Though Ani does do the same job and has a similar scent profile, Ani's got a little bit more spices and stuff. They're not the same fragrance. I don't know, it's a little bit more regal of an amber fragrance, I find. It just has this luxurious appeal to it. It gives a certain feeling and essence to it when you wear it. At least that's how it makes me feel. This is a special scent profile. One of the best amber vanilla benzoin fragrances out there. This and Nichané's Ani, my two favorites. Obviously, that's why I mention one when I talk about the other, basically. Because they do, like I said, they do the same job. But this one's just maybe a half a tick higher with the feeling that it evokes from me. That's why I think it would be a great choice for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, whatever have you, as long as it's at least cool outside. This is not great for warm Christmases because some areas are going to have a warm Christmas. Believe it or not, it's going to be in the 50s for me on Christmas Day when it was literally feels like -13 and -16 most of the day today. And at the recording of this, Christmas Day is 2 days from now. It's weird the way the weather works. But definitely, like I said, a very regal choice for this specific holiday. Maison Francis Kurkdjian, Grand Soir. Another fantastic designer amber fragrance. This is touted for being very similar to YSL Tuxedo. This has been a hype beast in its own right for a long time. We're talking about Rochas Moustache Eau de Parfum, one that I need to get back in the rotation myself. That's one of the reasons we're talking about it today, because even though I may not be wearing it for Christmas, I will be wearing it in the days following, because it's time. Such a great fragrance. It needs to get back in the rotation. Benzoin, vanilla, pepper, patchouli type of smell. You get a little bit of spice. You get some earthy, creamy tones. Vanilla amber feel. Just gorgeous. Classy without being overdressed and too serious. This one can dress down just as well as it dresses up. Performance is well above average on this one. It's not a beast. It's not some room filler, but it lasts a long time on my skin, and it has a strong enough presence where it doesn't overwhelm me or anyone around me, but you can get nice light whiffs and wafts of it throughout the life of it on my skin. This is just such a great fragrance. Prices have kind of settled with this one. There was a time when it was hard to get. As soon as it would hit discount or somebody would mention it in a Facebook group or in an Instagram post or a YouTube community post or whatever, and everybody would attack and hurry up and buy them, and they would sell out immediately. It's a lot easier to find these days, and it's still just as good now as it was a year, 2 years ago when all of this hype was surrounding it. So maybe it's time to pull this one off your shelf, dust it off a little bit, get dressed however you're going to be dressed for your family gathering for Christmas, and spray Moustache Eau de Parfum, because it's that good. Now, these last two are the two that I am greatly torn between, because I want to wear this one for Christmas. I may just wear this one for Christmas Eve and save the last fragrance we're going to talk about for Christmas Day. This is my favorite coffee fragrance ever made. It's Happyland Studios' Homme for the holidays. I mean, the Happyland guy's even wearing a Santa hat. There's mistletoe around. It's a Christmas fragrance. It's Christmas time with your family, Christmas morning, pot of coffee brewing, having breakfast. It's got this maple syrup accord that gives this, syrup covered waffles gourmand feel to it. This is one of the better fragrances Happyland's ever released, and there's a ton of good stuff. There's a ton of great stuff, dare I say, in the library from Happyland Studio, and this takes the cake. For as situational as I am with this fragrance, I still think if I had to get rid of everything EJ's made and can only keep one fragrance, I think it might have to be this one because it impresses me so much. And if I was just to have one coffee dominant fragrance, it would be this one. So it would make sense that this would be my favorite Happyland fragrance. If you haven't tried this one for some reason or another, you really should. If you're not a fan of coffee notes and fragrances, not everybody likes coffee notes. I get that. There's a decaf edition that's much more heavy on the gourmand sweetness. So those that like gourmands, EJ's got you covered with what's called the decaf edition. of Homme for the holidays. So maybe pull that one out if you're more into heavily sweet, gourmand, delectable type of scent profiles, whereas you still get plenty of that here with a nice, dark, heavy, robust coffee note. Performance is ridiculous. There's another one, 3 to 4 sprays max, because it's ridiculously strong, and the atomizers are a fire hose in itself. But probably Christmas Eve, I think I'll rock this one. Happyland Studios Homme for the holidays. Last but not least, this is what I'm going to wear Christmas Day when I gather with my in-laws. I have it on my hand. It's one of the best fragrances I've ever smelled in my life. I did a recent, we filmed it a few weeks back, but today at the recording of this, a smell and rate with me on Justin's channel came out, and I gave this a 9.5 out of 10, which those of you that watch me on a regular basis, 9.5 is a 10 from me, because I don't do 10s. There's no perfect anything, 10's perfect. I've been over that 1,000 times. I had to get a bottle of this. I smelled it on Justin. I fell in love with this fragrance. I went and searched, and I bought this from Perfume Online, from their eBay store, because it was sold out in a lot of places. Vertus Vanilla Oud. This is one of the best fragrances I've ever smelled in my life. And I have smelled thousands of fragrances at this point. I love this stuff. I put this on the pedestal. I put Dior Homme Parfum, which you guys have heard me. I think that's one of the 5 greatest fragrances ever made. I think this is one of the 5 greatest fragrances I've ever smelled, just as much as Dior Homme Parfum. Now, this is obviously my opinion. You may not feel the same way. It has this, the way Justin described it's pretty good. It has this illusion of a boozy vanilla feel. Like, I even asked him, is it a bourbon vanilla? Because it has this booziness to it. It might be a benzoin note. It might be this certain ambery mix. I don't know. I've never looked at the notes, not even once on this. I don't need to. I just know it smells that damn good. Maybe if I do a full review, I'll study the note breakdown a little bit more. But the best way I can describe this one is picture a bourbon vanilla smell, almost this dark, burnt type of vanilla. The oud here has a little touch of funk, but not really. It's more of this warm pencil shaving wood smell with the oud. It's ambery. There's not really any heavy doses of spice. It's actually pretty linear on my skin. Pretty much what I get at the top, it's all day it's going to smell like that, because I smelled this on Justin 14, 15 hours into the day. He would walk by and I'd get a hit of his sillage. Performance, at least on Justin, is ridiculous. I had sprayed it on my hand. Then it was ridiculous on my hand. Then it's been on my hand for like 4 hours now. It smells like I just sprayed it. Like I said, this is one of the best fragrances I have ever put my nose on. I am definitely looking to reach for this one for Christmas. If you have not gotten your nose on this, you really should, especially if you like the type of vanilla fragrances that I enjoy, because this is magnificent. And just a nice little added bonus, very strong magnetic cap, unique bottle design because of the way this corner is, the packaging's nice on it, etc., etc., etc. I paid $185 for this from Perfume Online. Worth every single penny. That's discounted. I believe it's around $250 to $300 retail. If you can find it sub $200 price point, you will not be disappointed from this one. I can't wait to give this one a full wearing. This is what I'm rocking Christmas Day. Vertus Vanilla Oud. Well, that's the 10 that I have for you as what I believe to be some fantastic picks for Christmas with your family this year in 2022. Whether it be Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, or both. Whatever you do in your household. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys. Do you own anything that I featured in this video? Is that something any of these, some fragrances you were considering for Christmas with your family? I'd love to read about it down below. I think I'll be putting this video out the morning of Christmas Eve. I think that's the perfect time for this video topic. I hope you all enjoyed this video. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of the ones I featured in this video and you give them a spray now, or if you wear them for Christmas with your family, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.